What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my quarterfinal battle for the NPL tournament, and I'm going up here against my Finnish comrade, Vepsis, and he has got himself a team consisting of Tapu Koko, Heracross, Mega Pidgeot, Licky Licky, Uxie, and Gliscor. And while he may be the Finnish one, I'm hoping to be the one who finishes him in this matchup. And I've got a team builder video up, link will be in description along with a link to his channel. And my team here, just a little recap, I've got a physically defensive Mega Venusaur, I've got a Scarfed Heatran along with a Scarf Keldeo, a interesting Life Orb Whirlwind Swellow, which is there in case he tries to do Baton Pass shenanigans, Assault Vest Eel, and then an Assault Vest Hitmonchan. So here, let me just get this show on the road. He is going to be leading off with Coco, and I am going to be leading off with Heatran. And here I am just going to be wanting to click my Overheat. I am Scarfed. If he stays in, the Coco will drop to the Overheat, and doesn't look like he is too great at first look of a switch in on my Overheat, so that is going to be what I'm clicking there. He actually goes in a Licky Licky, munches that thing up. He's going to show to be fully specially defensive there, so that's something interesting to note. Here I'm going to switch out into my Hitmonchan just to kind of feel out what he wants to do with this thing. He wishes up. I'm actually going to make an aggressive play into my Keldeo, predicting him to want to go into something like Gliscor there. He instead just protects. I've got Keldeo in on Licky Licky. I don't want Keldeo to get... Oh, I'm sorry, again, a little bit behind myself. I am very protective of my Keldeo here. Don't want it to take a potential Power Whip, don't want it to take a Toxic, don't want it to take a Body Slam. When I saw the matchup, I immediately penned Keldeo in as my win condition, so I'm not going to play risky with this thing. I'm just going to go back into my Hitmonchan. Well, I say I'm not going to play risky after I just made an aggressive switch into it, but there wasn't that big of a consequence potentially. So he brings in Uxie on my Hitmonchan. I just go for Brick Break to get off damage if he did want to click Wish and be safe. He was on Uxie, not the ideal for me. He gets up his rocks. I'm Scarfed, but I've got rocks of my own and I do just want to set them up. Force him to potentially defog if he has that on his Gliscor. He's going to knock off my Scarf. Since Licky Licky walls me, I'm not going to be protective of my Scarf. I'm not going to really need my Scarf, especially because Licky Licky is durable in this matchup. He's going to bring it in as I throw off an Overheat. I was fine to just click Overheat and force him to click Wish. It's as good as being aggressive and trying to predict it there. He wishes up. I'm just going to click Spin. Just the most safe play. If he brings in Uxie, he has to click Rocks again, so there isn't really a downside to me clicking the Rapid Spin. Basically, just win-win there. He goes into his Uxie again on this, and I'm going to regret not having Throat Chop on my Hitmonchan. That would have been nice in this matchup. He's going to U-turn as I actually go into Swellow. My thought process in going to Swellow was that he was about to set Rocks up. I'm probably not going to keep Rocks off my side of the field for much of the game, so I could bring Swellow in there, avoid taking a Rock switch in, and force him to make a difficult decision. Was Licky Licky weakened at this point? I don't quite remember, but I would force him to make a difficult decision as I did have Rocks up. And Uxie, I'm already identifying this thing as pretty annoying for me, so I was willing to throw off some Boom Burst and potentially have him do damage back and kind of make that trade. But he is going to U-turn into his Coco here, and I'm just going to go safely into my Eel. He'll Volt Switch. It's not going to do much because Eel is Eel, and he's going to go into his Heracross, which is actually going to be scary for me. I do not deal with this Pokemon too well. it basically just kind of got a kill there. And you know, that's annoying for me. I didn't have that great of a switch in. I went into Heatran because basically there wasn't a way for me to stop this thing from getting a KO at this point. And I was definitely ready for him to be potentially this kind of set. And the way I kind of dealt with it is my team, for the most part, keeps offensive pressure in on it. It doesn't come in too easily. If I'm not mistaken, Eel his flamethrower. It should, right? Eel's flamethrower. Hitmonchan is the one thing that really does let it in. And I was mostly prepared for this thing to be a potential baton pass recipient, because based on the way that he's played throughout the tournament, that's kind of something I thought he might want to do against me. I wasn't really expecting too much to see the thing come out early game raw, and you know what, that falls on me. I should have been more prepared for that, although my team in general, outside of Venusaur, is more offensive, and there wasn't that much I could bring to switch in on him. So it was a good prep, good play on his behalf to bring this thing, which is very much a nuisance to me. So I'm going to have to be pretty careful about this Mon as the game goes on. My Heatran will go down here, and I am going to bring in my Keldeo here, just because that's the Mon he has the hardest time switching in on. He definitely is in range of Hydro Pump, so I'm just going to go for my Hydro Pump as he goes out into Licky Licky. I'm unfortunately going to miss it. I don't quite recall if it was a 2 KO, but I don't think it was. Would have been nice to make him wish, but it doesn't. I don't really care. You know, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm going to bring in my Venusaur here. I just want to throw off a Sludge Bomb. If I poison the Licky Licky, it becomes a non-answer to my Swallow, so that's a priority of mine. He's going to switch into his Gliscor, which is fine with me. I can just click Energy Ball and I know I beat this thing one-on-one, especially since he's showing Toxic Orb. He's not going to be able to throw off an Acrobatics or some kind of Sky Attack or anything like that. I am going to drop his Special Defense, but I'm sure he's going to switch out regardless, so I don't think that mattered. He goes into Licky Licky. I click Sludge Bomb, thinking the Gliscors definitely want to go out. Fortunately for me, I do poison the Licky Licky, which is very nice. I'm going to go out into my Hitmonchan as he wishes up. And he is just going to go... Oh, he goes out in his Heracross here. And I actually went for Ice Punch because it's going to backfire on me, but I actually went for Ice Punch because when I saw the wish, I thought there was a decent chance that he might want to try to get his Gliscor back and healed up since it was so low. And I've only clicked Brick Break on that thing. I thought there was a decent chance he would try to do that. It doesn't work out. That's not the play he makes. Instead, he makes the play into Heracross. And now I am in a bad position again, unfortunately. He goes for Facade. I'm actually thinking that Hitmonchan is the least important Pokemon I do have, so I'm going to click my Ice Punch and just try to get off some damage on this thing, which makes it a bit easier to deal with. I'm going to be down immediately 6-4 here, but I'm definitely not throwing in the towel here. I'm still, in my mind, playing towards the scenario where I'm able to win with my Keldeo. Keldeo actually looks really nice. What I need to win with Keldeo is I need to deal with Licky Licky, which I can if I keep the thing poisoned. If it's poisoned and well, my rocks are gone, right? But he's poisoned. If he is poisoned, he's not coming in with Licky Licky on my Hydro Pumps. And then Hydro Pumps are able to take out Coco, which is in range. They take out Hera because it's now in range. They take out Gliscor, and it should 2-KO Uxie. Now, I just need a little bit of damage on Mega Pidgeot. I need about 25% damage on it to get the thing in range of my Hydro Pump, which against it is no guard and accurate. And that's what I'm going to try to play the rest of the game towards a win condition with my Keldeo. I'm going to bring it out here, try to put him in a tricky position. He goes out into his Gliscor. I'm going to be able to take that thing out, get my first KO of the game. You know, if it goes south, I got that one KO so I don't look like a jackass. He goes into Uxie. I have to go out into my Swellow. He's going to knock off my Life Orb and greatly reduce my damage output. So I'm just going to go for a Boom Burst and try to get some damage off on this thing. I'm thinking very much about keeping Uxie in range of potential attacks from Keldeo. So I continue Boom Bursting on the thing. It's going to U-turn out. It's low and it shouldn't be dealing with Keldeo anymore, but I do have to think about it potentially getting Wish back up. He brings in Coco. I don't have a great switch in on the thing. He goes out into his Uxie here, and I am just going to go out into my Venusaur because based on what I've seen from his set, I either know for sure or was just mostly sure that he didn't have a Psychic move. Even if he did, based on what I've seen from his investment, it's not going to do enough to my Venusaur unless it's actually Psychic and it gets special defense drops. But not A, I don't think he has it. B, I think it'd probably be size shock if it was there. So I'm going to bring in Venusaur and go for my Synthesis here. He's going to show the Heal Bell to be his last move there, which is annoying for me actually. But it does mean that Licky Licky doesn't have it. And I'm sorry, I went for Sludge Bomb, not Synthesis there. I was very worried about getting Uxie chipped down, and if I could potentially take the thing out, that would have been nice. Here I go for Synthesis as he goes into Licky Licky. Now Uxie isn't at its most durable here, so I'm just going to fire off Sludge Bombs and try to get Licky poisoned again. That way I can make sure it's not a Hydro Pump switch-in, which is important to me. I'm going to keep clicking Sludge Bomb on this thing. I'm not too worried about the thing being able to beat Venusaur because I don't think it ultimately would. So he's going to go for Body Slam. He's going to paralyze me. That I poisoned him, so that's just balancing itself out. He goes for Wish as I click Energy Ball. And I'm actually going to make the play into my Keldeo here because after Protect, he's going to be in range of Secret Sword. And I know he needs his health on this Pokemon. So here he's going to go for his Protect as I go for my Secret Sword. Just making sure I attack the thing that is in front of me. Because it does that Protect, that means I could only backfire by making an aggressive play. But now I'm going to go into my Electros thinking that this Pokemon is going to potentially want to come in now that he knows I'm locked in. Secret Sword unfortunately does not do a KO. He's going to knock me off. I'm going to Volt Switch, putting the thing in range of my Water move and allowing me to go into Keldeo and claim one. And I will click my Hydro Pump here. The Uxie will go down. That's one annoyance out of the way, but there are more to come. He's going to go out into his Pidgeot here. I'm going to go into my Electros because that's the only thing close to switching I've got. He'll go for Hurricane, do quite a bit actually considering it's Eel with 20%. I'm going to Volt Switch out again. He goes into Licky Licky and I bring in my Keldeo. The one thing I got going for me right now. And he goes for his Protect. I believe I went for Secret. Yeah, I went for Secret Sword here. Doesn't really have that great of a switch into it at this point. He goes out into his Tapu Koko. And I'm going to click my Secret Sword. Not do enough. And I'm going to have to, unfortunately, sack off my Electros here. And not in the sexiest position here. Because I don't have a way to pressure Pidgeot into range, so my fate here is a little bit sealed. I guess I do always have the chance of critting Hydro Pump, but that move has a hard enough time landing, let alone critting, so not getting my hopes up for that. He's going to sack his Licky Licky here to my Keldeo. Goes for Protect, and the thing will die to its poison, making Keldeo KOs 3, the rest of my team 0. Or no, that wasn't Keldeo, was it? Whatever poison... Venusaur! There we go, Venu, you're doing it. But he goes into Pidgeot. I go for Hydro Pump. Of course it doesn't crit, and that is going to be GG to my man Vepsis, who will be winning this game 3-0 and advancing to the semifinals. You know what? Tough loss for me. It's a tough loss for me, but my opponent prepped well, played well, and it wasn't really a luck-based game. He just edged me out in this one. You know, not the worst. Definitely not the worst way to go out. No controversy, no luck. Just he played well and he got me. That's all there really is to say about it. Keldeo is going to be the only Pokemon on my team that really does anything here. It'll get 3 KOs, the rest of my team will get 0. So what really went wrong for me in this matchup? I invested too much of my time focusing on... I invested too much of my time spent building, focusing on things that didn't really come. I was very prepared for him to run baton pass type of bring, or sorry, I'm not really getting my words right. I was expecting a kind of baton and pass theme of his team. That was something I was very prepared for. Didn't come. A lot of my build for that didn't really pan out as a result. I was definitely thinking Incineroar was going to come, so I didn't bring my Latios, which would have been really, really nice in this matchup. So I'm going to have some remorse there in my build. And I was really so sure that Tentacruel was going to come because I thought Tentacruel had a really solid matchup. And because I was so sure that Tentacruel was going to come, I didn't bring a reliable rocker on my team, just rocks on a Scarf Heatran. And if I was able to keep rocks up in this game, Keldeo would have won. So, you know what? It's just my building, the type of stuff I was expecting and preparing for wasn't the kind of stuff he brought. You know what? So when it comes to team building and draft league, there's a rock paper scissors component to it. And in this matchup, I brought rock and he brought paper, and he's gonna edge me out there. So that's gonna be the end of my run. He's actually gonna move on to 6-0, and he's gonna move on himself to the semifinals. And definitely good luck to him in the rest of the tournament. I guess it would make me look like less of a jackass if he won the whole thing. So, you know, that wouldn't be too bad. But we'll see how it goes there. I'm gonna finish the tournament at 5-2, which, of course, not bad. I'm a very competitive guy though, so I always kind of feel like shit whenever I don't win the whole thing. But you know what? I put up a fight, and I hope they watched my play in the tournament and liked what they saw, really. So I'm going to recap kind of my Pokemon's performances in the tournament here. Latios is going to... I got to fix the KO count because I put 1 for Keldeo. That was Venusaur's KO. Oops. Let me fix that here. Alright. I've just got them on the side, and I'm going to kind of read off how my Pokemon did. Mostly just focusing on the highlights. Latios is going to be the MVP of the team, and I'm gonna very much regret not bringing the thing when it counted. This Pokemon is a round 1 quality Pokemon, and I would take it number 7 again. Latios will lead the team with 8 KOs. It's gonna have 4 deaths and a +4 differential in the 5 games it came. Comfey will come to 4 games and get 5 KOs and 1 death. Comfey, the unkillable, showing itself again. Venusaur will have 6 KOs and 2 deaths, and its 5 brings. Venusaur also did a pretty good job staying alive, BG style. Keldeo, 3 brings, 4 KOs, 2 deaths. One Pokemon that doesn't have the sexiest differential is going to be Crocodile, which came to 6 games. It got 3 KOs, but it died in all 6 of its games. A lot of that's because of the way I used it, though. It did a good job getting up rocks and filling in some kind of utility functions, because only with Spec-Star is Crocodile a wall. Electros had a pretty poor showing statistically with 2 KOs, 4 deaths, and 6 springs. Electros did perform some functions as a kind of pivot and sponge, but statistically its run didn't look too good. And 2 Pokemon on my team will wind up without a KO, and they're going to be Hitmonchan and Girafarig. I'm not going to make any excuses for Hitmonchan, but Girafarig was the heart and soul of the team. This Pokemon enabled the rest of my team to play at a high level, and without Girafarig, I probably would not have done very well in this tournament at all. That Pokemon is the true MVP, and with that being said, I'm going to announce that the official MVP of my tournament run will be Girafarig. Defensive Pokemon is going to be Venusaur. No, Comfey. Yeah. I'm used to Venusaur being that sponge, you know, that thing usually puts in the work defensively, but Comfey did it. Comfey, I faced 3 Lopunny teams. Comfey is the reason that Lopunny didn't get a KO against me the 3 times I faced it. Comfey did a great job defensively, and offensive Pokemon will be my Latios. So that's going to be it for my, not just this video, but my NPL tournament run. I hope you guys did enjoy the videos for this tournament, and with the end of this, there's not going to be the same magnitude. Well, there's going to be shifting in magnitude of uploads because this is obviously a big content generator on my channel, and I will have to replace it with other things. I've still got to catch up on LD, and I will make sure to do that. And I've signed up for a tournament, a team tournament, which I should have starting, oh, what do you think, in a week? 2 weeks. Week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. That's probably when you'll start seeing videos come up for that, because it's just in the process of getting things going. There hasn't been a draft yet or anything, so it should be a bit for that, but it will be out there, and that will be some videos, hopefully interesting, because I haven't done anything team-based on this channel before, so it'll be something different, something new to try out. I'm always down to go into tournaments and experiment with new types of things, kind of a thing I like. Hopefully you guys like it too. So that's gonna be it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.